No, she's gonna hear with this one. Can you hear him?
No.
Say something.
Say something.
What up? What up, Dolores?
What up, Dolores?
Dolores. He done baptized me with another name.
Hello, people. You're watching a little bit of us, us being us. Welcome to Valhalla Paranormal. We haven't been on for a while. That's because we've been really busy. We've been going out to the field, working, all kinds of things. Today we are joined by Joe the Hoyos, the podcast host for. Plug yourself in, man.
The podcast host for Beyond the Woodline. Thank you very much, Mr. Walter, for allowing me to come on the show, buddy.
And today we have a special guest with us. Next to me is Doris Lausell, which is the newest addition to my group, and she's been going out with us, and she's been a trooper. She's here to tell us about her accounts from non-believing to believing. And without further ado, let's do our intro.
Sit down, strap up, and shut up. Enjoy the ride. We cannot guarantee your safety or your sanity. Enjoy this story. But remember, you'll never get to your destination.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. As I said before, today we have Joe Dioges, who is the host from Beyond the Woodline podcast, and Doris Lausell with us. How are y'all doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, buddy. How about yourself?
I'm
Oh, I'm
doing pretty
doing
good for a Monday.
great.
I'm just sharing this out, man.
Well, man, let's talk about this. Doris, from your perspective, from non-believing in Bigfoot, how's it going, Lupe? um, Doris, actually, she didn't believe in Bigfoot. Uh, she was aware of it. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, it wasn't I didn't believe in it. I guess it's like, when you're a child, you hear about it, and then years go on and you don't really think about it. You kind of sort of think it's a myth growing up. So, then I was exposed, what is it, to it without even knowing. I just kept hearing noises, and I'm like, "What is that?"
Right.
I
And
was
how
like,
did how
"What?"
did that make you feel when the first time that you went out there with us and with Joe?
Mhm.
How did you feel?
I mean, I was excited actually. I mean, to be honest, because why not learn something new? You
Right.
know, um, and you can. How do I say it? It's how they say you don't believe until you see it.
Right.
In this case, hear it. So I said, well, why not? Let me just see what this is all about. So I
And
just dove in, like, okay, I'm down.
I'm not sure it's a compliment
I
or,
know.
or,
I'm
or
talking. I'm
but
talking
I'll
about
take it.
when you're a
I know,
kid.
right?
When you're a kid, you think it's a myth, right?
Yeah. Well,
But it's
it's
not.
now that you've gone with us to our investigations. You've gone, you've been with Joe and myself, and you've been exposed to sounds, eye shine. I mean, I'm gonna let you tell us your perspective from the first time that it happened. How did you feel?
The first time, I've never been camping, so I said, okay, well, I want to have that experience. So I went camping with this dude, and I mean, he was just cooking, and it was maybe like 2 in the morning, something to that fact, and And I kept hearing like little kids like making noises. And I said, who is the irresponsible parents that have these kids, little kids? I mean, I was thinking maybe 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, just still playing outside. They need to be sleeping. And then that's when the whole conversation opened up about Bigfoot.
Right.
So it was just a regular me trying to get an experience of camping, and it ended up with the topic of Bigfoot. And as Walter was explaining to me the noises and so forth, then I started to hear like two women either like talking, but you couldn't really make it out, and then noises, like really loud noises. I said, this is crazy. And I'm like, what is that? You know,
Did you feel scared or
I,
did you feel intrigued?
no, it was more intriguing because I'm like, I want to know what that is. You know, I don't think I was scared. It was just more like I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Now,
Something that I haven't heard before.
Joe is more of an expert than anybody in this topic. I'm green. I'm new. I barely have a year doing this. Doris has joined us for about the last 3 months, I think. Um, Joe,
Nothing
from
more.
your perspective, Doris refers to women talking back and forth. It doesn't quite. I don't think it quite goes out there with the samurai chat. But how would you quantify that? How would you explain that?
I really don't know how to explain it. I mean, it's something that people have heard before, and people have described it like that before too. Sorry about that. People have described it like that before too, and um, it's just something that I guess they do, or something's out there doing it. Because you and I have heard similar out there. What it was, I don't know. You know, so I don't. it's just something that they do, I guess, and uh, that's just the best way people describe it. It sounds like two women talking, but I've also heard them say that it sounds like two men are talking too. So who knows what's
Hmm.
actually going on?
And if we think primates, I would say primates communicate and all of that. These, I think that they can imitate us beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Right.
We've been exposed to that,
Yeah.
and I am more amazed of the fact that they can actually imitate other animals
Right.
and their calls, and I mean, you can always tell when it's a Bigfoot because
The ending part
the
of it.
ending
That's
or
what
the
I've
beginning
learned.
they'll do something weird.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know what? I've never heard the samurai chatter. I don't know if Loopy has heard it, but I've never heard the samurai chatter. But I've always heard the mumbling. I don't say always, but the times I've heard it, it's been mumbling. Like the time you and I were out there in at Alpha, we heard that roar, roar, And I've
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
that twice. I heard it out there at Alpha, and I heard it one time, maybe 2 years ago when I was out there on the Lone Star Trail by my damn self. When I pulled my pistol out, actually, that's when I heard roar, roar, roar. So
Well, if we don't have to go that far. Recently,
I just,
I don't know if you remember, we went to Alpha to pick up or to drop recorders.
we're picking them up.
Right, and it was broad daylight, and
Right.
you were behind the pickup, and something grunted at you, and we just, the hell was that?
Yeah.
And that's kind of, to me at least, it sounded like, oh my god, here they are again.
Well, again, it wasn't a grunt. It was that roar, roar. It was
Right,
that.
Like a
You
ground.
know.
right.
Yeah.
But I took it as, oh my god, here they are again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
But
took it as you guys need to leave. That's what I took it as.
yeah, well, we did leave, by the
And
way.
we left
Oh,
in a
We
hurry
did.
too.
well, yeah.
We
And then you
didn't. We
locked up
did.
your brakes when the squirrel ran in front of you.
Yeah, and Lupa has also joined us on a couple of occasions, and man, I gotta say, Lupa's a pirate, man.
Oh, he's hardcore. He
That
don't
guy
play.
is hardcore.
He don't
My
play.
respects for Lupe. That he ain't afraid of nothing. 1 minute he's there, 1 minute he's gone. You're like,
Yeah.
where the hell is Lupe? He's out in the woods.
Yeah,
See,
you
and,
feel
and, and,
completely
and and you know
secure
what?
with
That's
him.
really a good mental image for people on how easy it is. Well, not how easy, but if Lupe could disappear, because we looked up, Lupe was freaking gone.
Yeah,
You know, he didn't vanish. He didn't, jump through a portal. He didn't, dissipate in front of our eyes. He was just gone.
yeah,
And I don't think he was trying to do it, but he's got a lot of training in that, and so he knows how to move. And some of
correct.
us, so
And
that's what.
that's part of the whole thing. I feel very safe with Lupe. Every time
Yeah.
Lupe's
Mhm.
around, I'm not worried.
Well, shit, he's got
Lupe's
Miss
there.
Piggy with him. He's got Miss Piggy with him.
Yeah, he had Miss Piggy with him. Yeah, and man, this subject is so big. It's so I don't know people. I know that a lot of people don't believe in it, and a lot of people just might think that we're crazy. Or at this point, I don't care because I know what I've seen. I know what I've heard. You as well, and
Mhm.
we have another friend, Chain Church. He took a cast, which I happen to have here. I'm gonna show it to you guys, and this is mind-boggling to me. I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of light. I'm trying to
Yeah.
see if there
There
you
you
go.
go.
This is 16 inches,
Yeah.
folks. This is a big. I mean, compare that to my face.
Hmm.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on this, Joe?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just like I said, like you said, it's mind-boggling. I had a chance to see it up close and personal when Shane came here to League City. Yeah, and you see it. There's so much detail in that print. It's crazy.
Yeah,
And
and it's crazy. It's crazy the amount of things. I mean, people often say, "Why don't you take a picture? Why didn't you take a picture?" Well, once you're in that situation, you're not really thinking about a camera. You're just
Right.
thinking to save yourself,
Escape.
yeah, you're
escape.
either thinking to save yourself, or you're thinking, "Holy shit, is this what I'm really looking at?"
Right, because you go into a fight or flight kind of situation, and
Right?
you're trying. Your mind is trying to process so many things at one time that I don't think it even crosses your mind to pull up a phone or to pull up a camera unless you already had it out.
It's more like survivor mode.
Right,
Like your focus is your priority is something different. Not to take a picture.
right. And you have also casted some prints as well, Joe.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Do you want to
you
talk
did.
about that?
Yeah, man. Those, you know, I call them knuckle prints. I've had some people tell me they were from a horse, but I've never seen horse prints like that. Never.
I mean,
And
unless a horse has fingers.
yeah, um, and then we tried to duplicate that print with our shoes. We really did, but you can either make those ridges, but you can't make it without the bottom of your shoe, the sole either. And whatever made these prints just broke the top of the sand. Like he was
Mhm.
walking on his knuckles. You know, and every time I go out there, either there or wherever we're at, and I see sand, I try to make those exact same prints, and I can't do it not without making the sole of my foot on there also.
And we also tried to measure the distance
Right? Yeah.
between each print, and it was what did it
At
come
least
out about?
at least 4.5 feet.
4.5 feet. Four and a
Yeah.
half feet. That's a long stride.
That's a
Mm.
long stride. When I was striding in the pictures, I mean, dude, I could feel my groin pulling.
Yeah,
Mm.
And so if it was a person running, they were either running on their tiptoes or running on their heels. And
but
I actually looked up videos of people running, and even with the
mhm.
proper technique, and that's not how we run. We don't run on our tiptoes. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
the
Because you
the heel of our
your
foot
heel
hits.
goes first,
Yeah.
right?
So if someone's running on their heels,
Mm.
you ask her for
I
help.
mean, to me, it just looked like this indentation right here,
Right. Right.
but
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
so
Not like a
thick.
fist. Not like a
No,
fist,
no, 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 not the
but on your
fist.
actual
Just
knuckles.
like on your knuckles.
Right.
And to me, that's very interesting because there's a little
Let me
story
grab it real
behind
quick.
this.
Let me grab it real quick.
They weren't there before we got there.
Mm.
And if I'm not mistaken, Lupe was also there when good evening, Abe. Welcome and thank you for joining the show. And they weren't there when we first got there, and I believe that was the same day that Lupe was with us,
Right.
and we looked on the right side. Oh, there they are. Look at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, Lupe found them. Lupe
Hmm.
gets the credit.
See, that's a great print right there. You can even see the indentations of the fingers right there.
See, if there were souls, then this one they would all be the same size also, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a manufacturer makes them different sizes. And then this was the, so I got number one and number four. You have two and three.
Oh, that's right. They're you want to
Yeah.
bring them? They're on the TV,
So you
in
have
front of the TV.
Okay.
a grass snake scared, yeah. And so this was like the first one. Like I said, this is number one. Let me put them on camera. And this is the last one, number four. And you
Got
have
right,
two and
right.
three. This is the most shallow one, right? And that's what I think when it first went down. Not all its weight was on it until it got to three and four. I mean to
Right,
maybe
and,
two and
and
four.
that's the amazing part, which is what I was talking about. Um, here are the two and three
Yeah.
are right here. I don't know if that's gonna come out very well on the camera because of all the lighting, but
Mm.
I don't know,
There should be
too
no
much
doubt.
lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, the whole point is that it was Lupe, it was Joe, and myself. We were all out there during the daytime. And when we first got out there, these prints were actually not there because Lupa walked that area, and you walked that area. I walked that area. They weren't there. Then we went to the other side, and you know, we went down and we found those little structures that we saw and what have you. But then when we came back, that's when those prints were there.
Yeah. I want to address what Abe is asking is if it's hoof prints. If it's hoof prints, there would have been multiple hoof prints because you're talking about a four-legged animal, unless it's a
Right,
two-legged hoofed animal. Um, when they walk, the hoofs are right next to each other. There would have been multiple sets, not just the four sets. And that's another thing I did. I looked up like deer prints, which is too big to be a deer. Uh,
well,
you know,
and the
cattle.
other thing that's very important to add is that in that area there's not enough space for a horse to walk in between the trees.
Well, and I asked people who ride horses. A good friend of mine is been involved in rodeo for her whole life, um, and she goes, "I've never seen hoof prints like that. If those are hoof prints, 'cause I've never seen hoof prints." And she's been
Right,
doing rodeo since
and
she was
Lupa's absolutely correct with what he's saying too.
right,
Deer pig stripes are too small.
right.
These ones were fairly big and fairly fresh
I mean, well, yeah. Look, I mean, they're
when
almost
we
the size
saw
of
them.
my fist. You know,
Right,
you know.
and not to mention that in other occasions when we've been there with Javier and Guadalupe, uh, uh, they found big prints with little prints. Now this was at nighttime, and there was a lot of pine cones, so we really couldn't do a casting on it because it wasn't gonna look as good.
Right.
But nevertheless, they were there, and there was a trail that led from to where they were walking by. Now, Joe, I know that you've had different experiences, and I know that you have another area where you use a dog whistle.
Mhm.
And could you tell us a little bit about that? I find that so interesting.
Yeah. So before I went out to this area, which is the area you and I went out to, we were out there by ourselves that one night. We heard those howls, right?
Hmm.
Um, I was out there with Shane and with Ernie, as a matter of fact. And before I went out there, a guy told me, "Hey, try a dog whistle. Go out there with a dog whistle." I said, "Okay." So I went out there, and as soon as we got out there, that's the first thing I started doing was blowing on that damn whistle, and we got this loud ass growl that I've never heard before or since. And but as loud as it was, like I tell everyone, it didn't fill up the forest. It came straight at us. It was like from point A to point B.
Projected,
Yeah, yeah. It was projected at us, and
yeah, and that's one of the most amazing things that I find about this creature, the way they can project that growl,
Mhm.
because it's not a scream,
Right.
it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a growl. But how did your body feel when you heard that when you heard the sound?
We didn't feel any kind of like, at least I didn't feel any kind of like reverberation like people talk about, but it was definitely felt in my soul. Yeah,
Yeah,
it like I said, because it came from point A to point B, and for it being so loud not to fill up the forest, it was that in itself was weird.
yeah. Are you willing to do that test again?
Oh yeah, I've got a dog whistle already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I just keep forgetting to bring it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember the one time that we were Doris was with us as well,
Mhm.
and we went to the Sam Houston Park, and I think I was by my pickup, and you came out behind me and you scared me, and then all of a sudden we heard all those howls and all those. You remember that
Yeah,
night?
yeah, yeah. I got that on recording too, even when I scared you accidentally.
I
It
I
was
have
so
it. I have it here. Let's.
yeah.
I want to play a little bit for the people here. I don't know if this will work. I'm gonna try to put it on, and you guys tell me if you can hear it. Can you hear all those screams? Did you Were you guys able to hear all those screams? Oh, I can't hear you.
He's on mute.
I don't think so. I couldn't hear anything.
Oh, then it's
Oh
hard.
no. Well, it's hard to hear anyways. I'm still trying to learn how to use this program, but I wish that you guys could have heard that because the sounds were as creepy as hell. And then something threw a log at us
Hmm.
on the other edge. That's when I started kind of panicking. Lupa says I felt it one time in '89 in Louisiana. Didn't know anything about Bigfoot sounds until later in life. Huh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm having technical difficulties projecting or sharing the sound. I thought that by having it there and sharing that screen, you could have heard it, but I guess I'm mistaken. Um, how many different type of sounds have you heard, Joe?
I've heard the howls. I heard the scream. Of course, I've heard the whatever those vocals you want to call them. You want to classify them as a grunt,
Hmm.
But I really don't want to say grunt because people are going to start saying, "Well, then you heard a deer," But
Right.
a mumble is probably a better,
Hmm.
you know, way to describe it. Um, those are probably about the only things I've heard as far as vocals go. But I've heard the wood knocks. I've heard the sticks thrown, the rocks thrown. I
And
was
and what about you?
Well, the kids, the ladies, um, but those were kind of like mumbling, and then the women screaming,
Oh, that's right, Lupa. Do you remember that?
the women screaming. That was
Was Lupa there with us that night?
um
Because I remember Lupa. I remember we went there with Gabe, Javier, Ernie,
Brandon.
and
Was Brandon too?
Brandon. Brandon and we were all just chilling, and I don't know. We heard this horrible scream. It sounded like a war scream. We all hightailed it out of there.
Mm,
No, Lupa wasn't there, but
mm.
everybody else was. Man, Lupe, I wish you would have been there. That night was incredible as far as noises go, because they even started imitating donkeys and
Oh
and
yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck?
I think it's amazing the fact that the fact that they can do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
What about the first time you saw them?
Oh, the first time I saw them. Um, oh, that's when we were with all the guys again. We went to an area, and we were we were kind of like, well, I say Charlie's Angels because I'm a girl, but everyone was like facing the opposite way, kind of like in a circle.
Hmm.
Just being cautious and looking at different areas. Everybody was looking at a different area of where we were at, and I think that's when the equipment was like kind of failing.
Oh, that's right. Because we
I
had
think that was
that.
that day.
We had a lot of magnetic problems. Our batteries kept draining,
Right.
and yeah. Uh huh.
And so, anyway, it was that at one point where bo- your back and my back was like together, and you were looking towards the street, and I was looking towards, I guess, the field or the woods, and there was like a gate. But I kept, well, like the first time I saw like white, two big circles. And at first I was like, because sometimes you think it's playing with your head because
Right.
you're already listening and hearing all these noises, and it's like, okay, am I just like freaking out? But I was like, okay, wait. And I kept looking and staring, and I kind of put my arm back, and and I reached for yours, and I'm like, I think I saw like the two eyeballs y'all been talking about. And so, you turned around and we kept looking in the area, and then it happened like two times
How
after.
did that make you feel when you saw the blinking?
I was like, oh my gosh, I just saw like what you guys been talking about. So again, it's more of, now is not anyone telling you about it. Now you're actually seeing it for yourself. So it's not like, oh, I just heard it or I don't believe it, because now you're seeing it for yourself. Like no one can tell you didn't see that. Does that make sense?
Right.
So it's still kind of, well, for me, it kind of increased my interest in it. Like to know more. Like, okay, well, what else can I, um, get educated on how they are and so forth. But so I think it was like three times that I saw it. You and I both saw it twice,
Right.
and then I saw it once. So that's one encounter.
Right.
Then the other one was when we went camping again, and it was like on the forest, and we were looking at it, and then I think that eventually, at first it was one, and then there was two, and then the second one was like going downwards, like kind of like one
Oh,
was
you're
up, the
talking.
other one was
Yeah,
down,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, you're talking
and it
about
would
that
kind of
area.
go
Yeah.
away. Then
Yeah.
you can see it turning because of
Hmm.
the way the eyes were going. It was like turning. You see, it was turning.
Joe, do you
It
want to
was
address this
weird.
question?
It was weird. I was like,
I stay protected, so I don't do anything special when I go in or exit the woods. That's what I do. I just stay protected at all times, so I don't ever have to worry about that. You know.
Uh, I I pray. Me personally, I pray. I had a very close encounter with one of these creatures, and I guarantee you that's something I don't want to ever have to go through for the rest of my life. I'm good.
Yeah.
I love doing research. I love going out there and spending time with friends and doing as much research as possible.
mhm.
But as far as wanting to see one that close again, I don't think so. If I could see it at a distance, I'm good. Hey, I'm happy. I survived. Other than that, I don't want to have that close experience again.
Yeah. Hey, I want to touch on what Lupe said about the batteries.
Right.
You and I have been out there with what 2 packs of batteries one day, and none of them freaking worked. And my whole thing is like, I don't think that these things do that. Um, so when I talk to somebody else, I won't say his name. We all know him. All
Right.
three, me, you, and Lupe know the guy. But I mentioned it. I said I think there's probably stuff out there that certain people can. install or put out there that interferes with your recorders, your cameras, your batteries. And he goes, he said, you're on the right track. He goes, but I won't talk about it over text,
Right.
you know. And that makes sense because I don't know if you want to talk about, the gentleman that y'all met out there that first night, but that would make perfectly good sense to me.
And there's a lot of magnetic interference in a lot of places. That's true. But for example, I went to the Big Thicket. Was one of the first places I ever went to, and we saw a whole bunch of lights. That's a whole another subject, and that we can get into if you want to. Uh, but one of the most scary things was not knowing what was causing that.
Well, it just happened so quick on the time that we went.
Right.
We had just got out of the truck, everybody, the two vehicles, and you know, first thing to do, you take out your equipment, you check it, make sure everything is on, and everything was on. And like not even 2 to 3, 4 minutes, it's already dying. How is that possible?
Right. Hey, I want to get back to what you were saying. If I mean, I know you're texting, your comments, but you helped a neighbor on one evening. She heard a loud growl while walking her dog by the woods. Her dog ran inside her home. A log got thrown and went through the wall of her home.
Wow.
Uh, can you tell us more about that, Abe? I mean, if you're willing to, I'd like to have you on the show and talk about it.
Wow.
We can do a show about that. You don't really have to go into it right now, but if you like, uh, again, I am putting up my personal email out there so that whoever has witnessed or know anything or knows somebody that has witnessed a Bigfoot, you can contact us. We can bring you on the show, and we can definitely talk about this. We have great people out here that can help, and it's extremely therapeutic to talk about this.
Mhm.
A 12 gauge with buckshot helps.
Right.
Now, besides the realm of the Bigfoot, because this is a big subject. I mean, we could stay here all night and talk about Bigfoot. Um, there are other things regarding the paranormal that he says, yes, it was a mobile home park. Sounds good. Yeah, man,
Okay.
talk to me. Let me know. We can have you on the show. We can talk about this if you've had other experiences, and it'd be great to talk about it. But going back to the paranormal, there's something interesting that happened not long ago, and I don't. Yeah, you were here. Do you
Oh.
remember the? You want to talk about that?
We were listening to sounds, right? Yeah, we were listening on my phone, and I asked y'all to turn the volume down on the TV so you can listen to it, and you told Dolores, you told Doris to uh, to mute it, and we're listening, and we hear what was it like a? I can't remember what it was like a. It just sounded like somebody was talking in the other room, and I said,
Right.
and I said that's a TV. I said mute it, and she's like I already muted it. And so we started listening again, and I was like, "No, you didn't mute it because we can still hear it." And she's like, "No, it's muted." Remember? And yeah, that happened like 3 times. I was like, "Holy shit!" And then finally,
And
y'all showed me, look, it's muted. The TV's muted. Yeah, but I kept hearing. Well, we all kept hearing those voices. I'm like,
Hmm.
where in
right.
the hell is that shit coming from? Yeah, that was funny.
And then if you remember, a couple of days later.
I love
It's
it.
Joe's fault. It's
I
Joe's
love it.
fault.
That's Joe's fault.
Joe baptized me. Well, better Dolores than Dora the Explorer.
uh, we were sitting outside and we were chatting after we had gone out to the woods, and you were leaving the house, and you looked up at the sky at the same time. We both looked up, and these lights were playing around each other in the
Yeah,
sky.
yeah, yeah. They
And
came at each
then
other like this, and then this just did a couple of circles. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 circles, and then they went this way.
Wow.
Did
Well,
you get a
I heard
video of that?
I heard they're being more open about that now.
Say that again.
That they're being more open about the UFOs.
Yeah.
Well,
You
they
know,
are, but they're also redacting a lot of information, so whatever.
Yeah, but that was incredible when I saw those lights going and I was like, what? And then Joe, did you just see that? And I was like, I'm still trying to fucking process it.
No, but I didn't. I mean, I recorded with my phone, but it didn't come out on my damn phone.
Oh
I
man.
think I think you got the street light right there, so it didn't come out too good. Well, you
Oh
can
yeah,
it didn't
yeah.
come out at all.
Light pollution. Abe is asking, what was the color of the lights?
They were white. They looked like stars.
If we didn't know any better, I would have said that they were stars.
So about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I'm looking out, and as you know, I've got a friend in the UFO community, um, and she has video of these red and blue lights. Um, I'm looking out at the sky. Right above the tree line, look. I thought it was a star. It started off like right here, then it went this way, then it came back, then it went back up, and then it came this way. And that was over maybe the course of about 15, 20 minutes of me staring at it. Stars don't move like that.
No, definitely not. And I remember when I was younger, way younger, me and my brother back home, we were walking, we were playing we used to have a hoop in front of our house, and we were playing basketball. And the ball ran and went to the other street, to another street. So we're walking by it, and these lights started following us. And me and my brother looked at each other, and we're like, you know what? F the ball. We're going back.
forget that ball.
Screw the ball. We can get it tomorrow. So personally, I think that UFOs are real. To think that we're alone in this vast universe is ignorant.
Right.
And
I'm a visual. I need to see one of those little MFs.
well,
I'm just
well, Joe, recently you had something happen. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if I ever told Doris this story first. I was out fishing in Galveston. I was with somebody else, and they pointed up to my left. They were like, "Hey, look up, over there. What the hell is that?" And I looked, and it's this freaking round disc. If you ever seen like the typical UFO, that's just like a saucer with a little ball on the bottom or half a ball that beaming shit up. That's what we saw, and it went right above us, maybe 300 feet above us, above our heads. And it took forever. Well, I'd say forever. It took like 5 minutes for it to actually get out of sight, and made no noise, no lights, no kind of movement. It was just super smooth as it was gliding across the sky. And we both got like I said, we both got a good look at it for a long time too. And maybe a couple miles, 2, 3 miles down the way, there's a little airstrip there in Galveston, and you can hear those planes coming in, buzzing from all that distance away. This was like right above us. I'll never forget. It was a clear night. The moon was out. It was bright. Yeah. So that was actually the first time I ever saw any kind of crap, and it was a damn good look at it.
What'd you do when you saw that?
We just stared at it. It was like, what the hell is that? We just kept looking and looking. We didn't freak out. We didn't get scared. But yeah, it was just so weird to look at it and just watch it go out of sight, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. To me, that's amazing.
But
now let's dab a little bit into the evil spirit realm.
Okay.
He's like, what do you mean?
So I've had a couple of experiences with that with my brother. When we used to live in Puerto Rico, and I remember that one of the most scariest experiences was my grandma used to live in a mountain, and me and my brother after we went to church, we would go up the mountain, and we had a lot of fruit trees and all kinds, and we had oranges, cherries, we had everything. and we would like to go and pick them and put them in our shirts, and kind of eat out of it, and without being found by our grandmother, because you know, uh, God love her soul, but she could she could be really mean. But anyhow, so one day him and I are on a Sunday are picking out of the trees, and I'm not sure what kind of fruit we were picking, probably cherries, but I remember that somebody called out my brother's name, and my brother's name is Christian, and this voice out of nowhere, Christian, and we're like, what the hell? There's nobody else supposed to be up here. So my brother, him being him, he starts walking towards it, and I'm like, hey, well, what the hell are you doing? So I go behind them, and out of nowhere, there's this, it's like this mist, and there's somebody standing there, and we booked it, bro. We booked it. We ran. We fell down a hill. I mean, we were dirty. I mean,
Mhm.
it was awful.
You got spooked.
Oh, spooky is an understatement.
Mm.
Then I got chased by the Hat Man. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're aware or
Oh
if you're familiar with the Hat Man.
Mm.
yeah, I've had an encounter.
So I was chased about 2 or 3 times by the Hat Man, and that was not comfortable at all. Big red eyes, I mean, it's
Oh,
awful.
I've heard of that one. Okay.
AB saying, I've seen one as a pyramid shape with a blinking light on top, red light ship coming in and out of it. Don't know if it was military since I've lived by Fort Hood.
Mm.
Is there any development bases over there? I'm not sure if there are in Fort Hood, but I'm not aware of any sites where we would um,
Like see them.
no sites where they develop new aircrafts and
Mm.
all of that.
Mhm.
But anyways, going back to the evil spirit, well, that takes me back to what you were hearing here in the house. Remember, because my daughter was here and she
Right.
kept telling you that she kept hearing a lot of weird stuff, which resulted in her leaving the house because she couldn't take it anymore, and the tapping on the windows and all of that. That was incredible. Now, you had recently on your show, um, I think I got his name here because I was supposed to interview him, but I couldn't.
What was he talking about?
Um, just evil stuff, and let me see if
Was
I
it
can find
was
it.
it was it the two guys?
The guy and the girl,
Oh, Alexa and Shane.
Ken Allen.
Oh, Ken Allen. Okay, okay. Oh yeah,
Ken
Ken
Allen.
and Mistress B. Okay, yeah,
I thought that was a very interesting show.
yeah. They're gonna come back on
When
probably in January.
and tomorrow you got somebody coming to your show too, huh?
Oh yeah, I got a very special guest, Mr. Will Jevning will be on the show.
Will Jevnings, ladies and gentlemen, you do not want to miss that show
Are you
tomorrow.
serious?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
cool.
and
I've heard of his name so many times in
Yeah.
so many conversations.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
yeah, and Abe says, I lived by killing old airport. They really don't have Air Force there since it's an Army base, only
Mm.
choppers. Well, if they got
Into the
choppers, they got
chopper.
planes, but
Into the choppers.
get in the chopper. Um, Joe, what have you been up to other than work?
Oh man, you don't want to know. Oh man, I just trying to stay busy, man. Trying to get
I
my
know I
podcast off
haven't.
the ground. I'm
I know
working
I
on
haven't had a chance to go out.
yeah, trying to get my other podcast off the ground. Um, uh, you know, uh, have we talked about that? The other podcast I want to do,
Mm-mm.
I
the
don't believe
weed
so.
about weed. It'll be like an all weed podcast. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Have a weed podcast, talk about weed, and you know, whatever else comes up, but it'll be mainly about weed, and but we can definitely have a good time and bullshit and
The
what have
herbs.
you.
Oh,
Talking
yeah,
about
you're right.
herbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd
You
be
did
called pirate.
mention
Yeah, it'd
something.
be called pirate strains, and our good
Mm.
friend Shane Church is going to do the logo for me.
Okay, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Just go and vote,
Sylvia
vote,
Payne
vote. No,
says vote FYI.
that's what I vote, vote, vote.
You ever run into the Llorona? I have plenty of
I think I dated her
experience
one
with La
time.
Llorona, being that I lived in Mexico for about 14 years.
We get the good stuff, Lupe.
Mm.
And man, let me tell you something. It's creepy to hear her. It's a very creepy voice. You can hear her speaking in Spanish
Mm.
and yelling, where are my children? And it's creepy. It's creepy as hell. And then you open the door and you look outside and you don't see anything. But I know that there are a lot of other places in Mexico, more of rural areas where the Llorona actually gets violent and hits people's houses, and there's tons of videos in TikTok about it.
Right.
What do you think about that, Joe?
I don't know. I know it certainly is a an entity of some kind. But it seems to me she's all over the damn place. People
I
see
know.
her.
Is it like every state have a Llorona?
Yeah, and see, that's exactly what I was going to say, Lupe. I think it is a Bigfoot. I don't think it's necessarily this woman. I think it's a
The
Bigfoot.
woman scream,
That actually makes sense.
right?
Because check this out. So I used to live in San Antonio, or anyone who's ever driven to San Antonio knows. Did you come across like once you pass Luling, which is where the Bucky's is at?
Right.
There's so many creeks. There's like Walnut Creek, Long Branch Creek, Allen Creek. I think it's like Sawdust Creek or Sawmill Creek. I mean, there's like 30 creeks on the way up there. So they all have these common names, which a lot of names of creeks or rivers for that matter, they have to do with like the general area. You know what I'm saying? There's
Hmm.
one creek called Hollering Woman's Creek. So where the hell did they get that name from? Hollering Woman's Creek. You know?
Well, it's from I think
Yeah,
this originated in Mexico.
yeah. Well, this is actually I looked it up. It's a Spaniard. The Spaniards are the ones who did it. Because so many people conquered
Right.
Texas at one time. The Spaniards were one of them. Yeah, they named it the Hollering Woman Creek after La Llorona. But these are Spaniards; they're not Mexicans. So that's what I
Right.
say. Everyone has their little tales about that, and the fact that she was dressed in white or whatever tells me that they probably saw, uh, a white Bigfoot screaming or seen the white Bigfoot or heard the screaming. That's what I think. Texas was Mexico. Yes, it was all the way up to Montana, damn near. I think.
That's a lot of land right
Yeah.
there. But
Did you know that that's where the word Six Flags comes from? Six Flags over Texas.
no,
Yeah, because there've been Six Flags over Texas. The Mexican
really.
flag, the Spanish flag, the German flag, of course, the Texas flag, United States flag, and the Mexico flag.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
But going back to that, I think it's interesting that you point out that you think it's maybe a Bigfoot, because most of the areas where I've heard the Llorona are very rural areas,
right.
in Mexico. And I think that the first time I heard it, we were in somewhere in Guadalajara or Sinaloa, someplace like that, and we were staying at an adobe house, a house made out of clay, and man, humble people. And during the night, man, whoo boy, they were like, yeah, don't go out at night because it gets kind of dangerous out there. But they wouldn't talk anymore about it.
All right.
But it is kind of interesting that you say that you think it's a Bigfoot, because the times that I've heard it, I've picked my head out, but I've never seen it. I can hear it, and it sounds like it's right there in front of you, but you never see it. And then we go back to my encounter with the Bigfoot, and the first time that I heard it, when I crossed the creek to find some prints, after looking at the excrement that was left behind,
Right.
uh, and that growl, that intense growl, and then the yells and the screams. I mean, it makes sense. I see how it could be. I'm not saying it isn't. We leave that up for you, the public, to decide. But you know, in my mind, I can probably see how it could be.
Right. I agree with
Doris,
that.
what would you do if you encounter one of those in front of you?
Oh, I would scream.
I thought you
Oh,
had
no,
a pow
no.
pow.
No, forget the pow pow. The pow pow, it's not going to do anything to spirit. This sucker's just going to go right through. It's just a waste of bullet.
Well, we
Save
gotta
it for
have Luca
yourself.
with us.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't mess with that.
That's
That's one thing I'm not interested in knowing about.
I know,
I don't
Joe.
think
Joe, you've mentioned that you want to see it at a distance. What would your reaction be if you had an encounter like mine?
It just really would depend. I,
Were we
I
talking about
honestly
Bigfoot or the
don't
Jaguar?
get scared very often, so I don't, you know, I like to think I keep composed at least, even if I did, turn around and leave. But I'd really like to see it, get up close and see it. Um,
Have you seen that video that's circling around the web? Lupus says use a water gun with holy water, Doris.
Right?
but
Oh man, I can
Dolores,
see all of us with water guns. Oh jeez.
um,
Wait, I'm sorry. That's like Bigfoot, real ammo,
yeah,
spirits, water guns,
yeah,
holy water.
yeah,
Bless that.
definitely. Now, there's this one place that I haven't been to, and I keep hearing it and hearing about it a lot of times, and I think I mentioned it to you, Joe, and I'm really dying to go out there and do an investigation, but it's on the paranormal side. It's Devil Road out by Humble, Texas.
oh yeah, 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 yeah,
You know about that?
yeah. I know about it. I've never been there, but I'd like to go check it out and see what's going on.
We gotta make some time and check that out, man. Abe
Yeah,
says so many theories, shapeshifters, demonic beings that can manifest and take different forms and mimic voices. That's true. I actually agree with that statement.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But yeah, Joe, we gotta make some time. I know we're both extremely busy,
right.
but I've never been there. I've heard about it. I heard that somebody passed away in their vehicle from seeing a demon or whatever.
Mhm.
Mm-mm. And you want to go?
Yeah,
Oh,
why not? We're protected.
Yeah, we'll always be protected.
And
not that big.
also, we gotta go back to that new area in the old place.
I want to go Oklahoma because a lot of people are
Which
saying
which which new area?
Oklahoma, right?
The old place. New area and the old place. What is that?
Alpha, the old place with
Uh
the
huh.
new area that we
Oh,
saw there.
okay, okay,
I mean,
okay.
that place looked like a different ecosystem altogether. Like,
Oh yeah, you got it. You got it.
yeah, we gotta go check that out. Well,
You gonna say the story about the hog, or that
what
I
what
thought
hog?
it was a hog when y'all left me in the camp.
Oh, so so we're
End
gonna
it with something funny.
so I don't know if you remember that Ernie, Brandon,
Gabe.
Javier,
Was it Gabe too, right?
Gabe, we all went to an area and we were camping out there in the forest by the lake. And so we tell Doris, Ernie gives Doris a gun, right? Like a big ass gun. I mean,
Well,
this thing looks like Rambo owns this
no,
gun.
no. The first option was, did you want to come with us or do you want to stay?
No. But we ended up having you stay, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Ernie gives this woman his gun, right? And so all of us, all the men, get in my pickup, and we go out to another road to see what's going. To see if we can hear a Bigfoot,
Mhm.
or to see if we could leave recorders out, and trail cams and whatnot. And we leave Doris by herself in the camp. Now, mind you, it's about 9:30 ish at night, so it's pretty dark.
No, it was before then.
But we had lights and
Yeah.
whatnot. But anyway, so we go and we give her a radio. Anything happens, Doris, here's your radio. We give her the radio, a two-way radio, and we go and we do our thing. And we're in the middle of it, right? We're in this. I don't remember the name of the road, but we were deep in there,
Right.
and we couldn't hear nothing. But nevertheless, we were leaving recorders and whatnot. Next thing you know, out of nowhere, you hear on the radio, "Shh, guys, I think there's something around me."
What time are you coming
And
back?
oh, and what time are you guys coming back?
Are you
And
almost
I'm like, oh, we'll be there in a minute. Then she goes, not even 5 minutes later, she goes, guys, I think there's a hog near me. And Ernie goes, well, shoot it.
Because that was the first time I was by myself. I thought I could handle it, but no,
You-
I did handle it. I did handle it. But I got a little spooked, just a little bit. But then it ended up being a raccoon, remember?
Yes.
It
it
ended up
ended
being
up
a
being
see, so it wasn't
Yeah.
just damn
Yeah, you know what?
raccoon.
You can't laugh at that. Remember your possum incident?
I mean, these yeah.
Don't
I wanna
even
show
go
you
to
this
the park.
picture.
The
I don't know if you can
squirrel.
see this picture. It's a picture of some throw up. It's going, but since the grass is green, you can see the throw up a little bit better. Because it's got the green screen behind me.
Yeah, the green screen is projecting on it.
Yeah. So this guy sent me this. I sent next to some weights. That stupid green screen.
Where was that at?
Up near Dallas area.
Maybe.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna remove the green screen. But yeah, it's up near the Dallas area.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, there's a couple of places that I'm interested in going. One of them was the one place that I was telling you that is not up north here in by Lufkin.
All right.
But anyways, guys, thank you for being with us tonight. Joe the Ojos, Doris, I'm grateful that you guys had some time to spend with us tonight. Everybody, Lupe, thank you for being with us on the show. Alicia Clark, thank you for being on the show. Before we go, please plug in your show tomorrow, Joe.
Yeah, tomorrow night, Beyond the Woodline, you'll find me on Facebook. I've got the Beyond the Woodline podcast page and Beyond the Woodline fan page and Beyond the Woodline on YouTube. And my very special guest will be Mr. Will Jevning. So you guys tune in, man. It'll be a great show. You guys got questions? Come and ask them.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great show. I can't miss
That's
that
tomorrow,
show.
right?
Yeah.
And on my behalf, guys, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. This is Valhalla Paranormal. Again, if you've witnessed or know anybody that has witnessed a Bigfoot, please contact us at the email below. And I would love to have you guys on the show. We can talk about it. There's a lot of people out there that feel that talking about it is therapeutic for them, and it is. And we're here to try to help everybody, and with what little we know and whatever we don't know, we'll forward you to the correct person. In this case, Mr. Joe the Ojos, Will Jevnings, you name it, we will try to help you as best as we can. So thank you for being with us. We're going to try to be in more regularly. For now, we're going to come in whenever we can. But thank you for being on the show. So thank you, everybody. And thank you for watching the show. Until Valhalla.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Sit down, strap up, and shut up. Enjoy.